free.
KTVU analyst Brian Sobel joins us now. First off, let's talk about Santa Clara County's lawsuit today. San Francisco filed a similar lawsuit last month. What happens next in this process? Well,
it'll go to the courts, and the courts will come up with a decision as to the applicability of the lawsuit.
What are the chances?
Well, you know, the funding packages that come out of Washington, D.C. Are very complex, and it's really, you know, we have to wait and see whether the president and the administration can really do something about taking money away from funded programs in cities. That's going to be the thing to watch, and frankly, we don't know yet what's going to happen. Here's a president that's been in office less than 2 months, and the sky is falling everywhere, but to be fair, we need to see how it rolls out.
Speaking of that, he's only been in office, as you say, 2 months. Do you think the media is being fair to President Trump? He's been very critical of the media. And I think it is interesting how in some of the areas, especially here in the Bay Area, we're a very liberal area, so there's a lot of animosity toward President Trump. But you go into the Midwest, and there are people who think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Well, right. It depends on who you voted for, where you are in the country. There are people all over the country that think Donald Trump is doing a great job. Now, some of the polling suggests that they're concerned about kind of the shooting from the lip aspect, but not the programmatic piece of it. So you're right, Frank. We're in a progressive area, and people have a real strong opinion about him. To your point, though, the media needs to take a look at what they're covering, and maybe just my view and the view of a lot of actually political analysts who think that the important topics are the ones you ought to be discussing, not so much whether the president's daughter has her clothing line removed from department stores. We've got huge issues that we're facing.
Like his proposal that he's eventually going to put forth to reduce taxes.
Absolutely.
In Obamacare.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole program, and I think we're getting caught up on some nuances here that may be holding back real discussion around real subjects.
I want to get your take on the travel order. He's due to roll this out possibly tomorrow.
Yeah.
What should people expect, and how could this be different from the first one that we saw?
Well, I think the administration took a look at the decision by the Ninth Circuit, 3 judges, and they're going to work their way around that. There will be a travel order that will contain some of the elements of the original one, but they're going to avoid the pitfalls that the judges highlighted. So what that means is that there will be a more refined order that will come out of Washington, D.C.
Just very quickly, do you think at some point President Trump is going to reach out and try to heal the country, which is at such a divisive level right now?
Well, I'm hoping that starts with his speech next Tuesday and other sessions where you're seeing somebody now that is finding that the job is enormous, and he doesn't have quite the amount of time to be spending on tweeting and other things. He's still doing it, but you can see that a lot more substance is now being discussed out of Washington, D.C., which I think we all feel much better about.
All right. Brian, thanks for your perspective.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.